Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So ever since Shakur Stevenson got his win, his stoppage win over Yoshino, every time I make a video on Shakur Stevenson, I see people in the comment section going back and forth on who's ducking who. Some fans are dissing Devin Haney, some fans are dissing Shakur Stevenson. But while these fans are doing that, the racists, they're dissing both of them. They look at both of them as the same. Teddy Atlas, of all people, he came out and he completely trashed Shakur Stevenson's performance, saying as usual it wasn't exciting and he had preferred to watch the Fundora fight over the Shakur Stevenson fight because the Fundora fight was more exciting. He also started accusing Shakur Stevenson of cherry-picking his opponents as if Shakur was ducking someone just to take on the easier Yoshino. That's what Teddy Atlas was implying. And then to do damage control, Teddy Atlas, he puts up this "I'm not a racist" tweet, meaning Teddy, he knows that he's coming off as a racist, but he knows that no one is going to call him a racist, meaning everything that Teddy Atlas is saying about black fighters like Shakur Stevenson and what he's not saying about black fighters like Gervonta Tank Davis, it's subliminal. He's speaking in code. So like I said, after Teddy says all of this about Shakur Stevenson, then he tries to do a little bit of damage control by posting this. He says, "But as I have said with Fury, Canelo, Joshua, I no longer want to see Stevenson with those hand-picked opponents fight top guys." Now listen, when Teddy tries to compare the way Shakur Stevenson moves to Tyson Fury, a Anthony Joshua, or a Canelo Alvarez, Teddy Atlas is not that naive. He's not that casual of a fan to where he's not paying attention to the news. He has access to all of the breaking boxing news. So Teddy was already aware that Isaac Pitbull Cruz was the first opponent that was supposed to be fighting Shakur Stevenson, that was ordered to fight Shakur Stevenson for the mandatory spot. He knows that William Zepeda was offered the fight right after William Zepeda came off of the biggest win of his career, beating Jojo Diaz. And Teddy, he never addressed the fact that both Isaac Cruz and William Zepeda turned down an opportunity to fight Shakur Stevenson in a title eliminator bout. That is the complete opposite of handpicking your opponent, right? Shakur Stevenson has always been the boogeyman. He's always been chasing the type of fighters that Teddy Atlas claims he personally likes, like Fundora, like Oscar Valdez, William Zepeda, and Isaac Cruz. Teddy also acknowledged, he said, you know, when it comes to the Fundora fight, yeah, they may not have a lot of talent, but it's still more exciting for me to watch than a Shakur Stevenson fight. This is what Teddy Atlas said. Now, not only does it not make sense coming from Teddy Atlas, because Teddy Atlas has always been known for his knowledge of the sport, for being a boxing trainer with a very analytical perspective. Remember when Teddy Atlas was on ESPN, before each big fight, he would show what each fighter has to do to win the fight, right? Notice when he talks about Shakur Stevenson, he says he's not exciting, but he never says what he wants to see Shakur Stevenson do in the ring. And this is what Teddy Atlas is supposed to specialize in. When Shakur Stevenson was fighting Oscar Valdez, Teddy Atlas, he tweeted, "If Shakur Stevenson is winning the fight, then that means it's boring." And Teddy just told on himself right there. Because what he was saying right there is the only way I'm going to like this fight is if I see Shakur lose. If I have to watch him win again, it's not even worth watching this fight. And this is the exact reason why Bob Arum, he walked off the stage in the middle of the press conference for the Shakur Stevenson-Oscar Valdez fight. Because Bob Arum was so upset that he already knew the wrong guy was going to win that fight. Remember, Bob Arum just recently said when he was asked about a potential Devin Haney versus Shakur Stevenson fight, does he want to make that fight? And one of the main things he said is, "I feel a fight should always include a Hispanic element because that makes the fight bigger." So he's asked about Shakur versus Haney, and he's over here saying that he prefers to have a Mexican in the mix, because that's what he obviously means when he says a Hispanic element. But we know even Bob Arum doesn't believe that 100%, because when Bob Arum was putting together the Shakur Stevenson versus Oscar Valdez fight, he had no interest in promoting it. In fact, that fight didn't even have a press conference to announce the fight. So what people like Teddy Atlas and Bob Arum are really saying is they only want to watch the Hispanic fighter involved if it guarantees he beats the black fighter, or if it just guarantees he gets the win no matter who he's fighting. The fight is not worth watching if he's going to lose to the black fighter. So when Teddy Atlas makes it seem like all of a sudden he no longer cares about technique and he doesn't even care about getting knockdowns or stopping opponents if you're too technically sound in the ring. If Teddy is truly only focused on excitement and doesn't care about anything else, doesn't really care about, how talented the fighter is, because once again, this is what he said about Fundora. He acknowledged that they did not have a lot of talent, but he said it was exciting. And that's the main thing that he's looking for in a fight, is excitement. If you're going to say something like that, you have to be consistent. So if Teddy Atlas is now saying that he cares more about excitement than skill and talent, how come he never said this about Deontay Wilder? When Deontay Wilder was knocking everyone out, Teddy Atlas was constantly trashing Deontay Wilder because of his lack of skill. Wilder knocked out all of his opponents in the most dramatic way. But yet Teddy, he didn't care about the excitement when it came to Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder was nothing but excitement. He didn't have the best defense, so Deontay Wilder, he gets hit, he knocks his opponents out. This is exactly what Teddy Atlas is claiming he likes when it comes to Fundora. Teddy says Fundora Mendoza, much different styles and less pure talent, but Fundora more fun to watch than Stevenson. Listen, guys, there would be nothing wrong with Teddy Atlas saying something like that if he was consistent with his message, and he's never been consistent. Gervonta Tank Davis has all the talent in the world. He has all the power in the world. He knocks out almost all of his opponents, and yet Teddy Atlas has never praised Gervonta Tank Davis as being one of the most exciting or the most exciting fighter in the sport of boxing. He's never tweeted, man, I really prefer to watch Gervonta Tank Davis over any other fight. And that's another thing. When it came to Fundora, Teddy didn't care who the opponent was. He didn't care if Fundora was fighting against Jermell Charlo or he was fighting against Brian Mendoza. Teddy was saying that the excitement factor, it outweighs all of those things, but not when it comes to Gervonta Tank Davis or Deontay Wilder. It's funny how Teddy, he tried to justify what he said about Shakur Stevenson by changing the subject and saying, oh, well, I've called other people cherry pickers. Yeah, but you've never called a fighter who was not black boring and not exciting. When Lomachenko didn't throw punches for 6 rounds against Teofimo Lopez, Teddy never called him boring. He never said this fight in particular is not exciting. You don't have to say that Loma is a boring fighter in general, but you could have at least pointed out that that was not an entertaining performance. It wasn't an exciting performance by Lomachenko. Even when Loma was throwing punches, he was still extremely cautious in that fight. Tyson Fury was extremely cautious in his first fight against Deontay Wilder. He was the boxer. According to Teddy Atlas's logic and what he likes in the ring, he should have been all over Deontay Wilder when it comes to the level of excitement. We definitely know what time it is. Everyone does. But see, this is the problem with racism. People like Teddy Atlas, he's more comfortable with being a racist than black people are to expose the racism. Black people often are far more uncomfortable just pointing out the racism than the actual racist is being racist. Perfect example. Clarissa Shields and Shakur Stevenson, they responded to what Teddy Atlas said. And I give Clarissa Shields credit because at least she was willing to say something and not just remain silent. Listen, not just black boxers, but anyone involved in the sport that considers themselves an anti-racist should have responded to Teddy Atlas. And you do 2 things. You either call him exactly what he is, which is a racist, or you expose his racial contradictions. Clarissa Shields, she responded to Teddy. She said, Teddy, you tripping. Shakur beat this dude down and the fight was extremely exciting. Be real, Teddy. Now, that would be a good message to send to someone who is not a racist. But when you're sending a message to a person who is a racist, it does nothing to say that. Because the only thing a racist person is worried about is someone exposing them as being a racist. Someone implying this has something to do with race. You know, Shakur, he responded by basically saying that Teddy was a hater, or he agreed with someone that said that Teddy was a hater. But it doesn't mean anything if you're calling a racist a hater, because anyone can be called a hater. It doesn't mean anything. Anyone can be tripping. When you ignore what they actually are and you don't call them what they actually are, or even imply it, you know what it does? It emboldens them. They come back stronger because the racist says, I keep dissing these black fighters and they're all afraid to call me what I am. So I'm gonna keep doing it. People have to stand up to the bully. But I know what it is. These black fighters, they're worried about being attacked on social media by other racists. But you can't be worried about that, because these racists are never going to accept you. Even when these black fighters try to cater to the racists, these type of race fans, they still root against those black fighters, no matter what. Shakur Stevenson went out of his way, praising Bam Bam as a special fighter, saying that Tyson Fury would beat Muhammad Ali. He said all of that. And those race fans, they still root against Shakur Stevenson. The only time they even act like they like Shakur Stevenson for a brief moment is when he's dissing another black person, or when Shakur Stevenson is possibly matched against another black fighter like a Devin Haney. But when Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, Gervonta Tank Davis, Clarissa Shields, when they're matched against someone who's not black, all of those same fans, they root against them. They root against the black fighter. So if they're going to feel that way about you no matter what, they might as well feel that way about you while you're speaking the truth. There's no reason to try to cater to racists. After all, they definitely not trying to cater to you. And they feel very comfortable letting you know how they feel about you. Ask Teddy Atlas. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one. All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, fever blisters, diabetic ulcers, this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called Elo Diki Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to elodiki.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram.
One of the most anticipated dog breedings has finally been confirmed. The pups from this pairing of Zeta and DMX will be born very soon. We are now accepting deposits. Our pups will come with ears cropped and a 2-year health guarantee. Get ahead of the pack on purchasing a puppy by contacting NWA Cane Corsos on Instagram at NWA Cane Corsos. Call or text 479-326-1603 with any questions. A guard dog is your first line of defense. These will be the right pups for the job.
Let me tell you guys about Issa Israel Law Firm. It is a full-service legal practice based in Denver, Colorado, an emerging hub for combat sports and high-altitude training. If you're a fighter inside or outside of the ring and you need a law firm you can trust to fight for you, visit thefighterfirm.com or email help@iilawfirm.com. Legal representation is usually limited to plaintiffs or defendants in Colorado, but iFirm can help anyone in the world with trademarking their business name, logos, and U.S. immigration issues. This brother has been my attorney for a while and helped guide me through all kinds of business and civil issues, so make sure you guys go to thefighterfirm.com.